Okay, so this is a commentary that I've been kind of bouncing back and forth on of whether or not I wanted to do just yet. But I figure I have a little bit of time before I have to go to bed. And this is almost unfortunately the shortest Texas Chainsaw Massacre to date. It is exactly 1 hour 23 minutes, which makes it about 30 seconds shorter than the original, and it is about 2 minutes longer than the theatrical version of Leatherface The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, but nobody really counts that as the official version of that film these days. That would be the 1 hour 26-minute version, or 25. I think it's 25 actually, which is still longer than this. Plus, this has a longer ending credit sequence. So, really, this is like, not counting the credits, it's like an hour and 16 minutes. It's insanely short. Um, and I kind of wish that it hadn't bypassed theaters to go straight to Netflix. I really wish I could have seen this in a theater. I should have gotten a theatrical release. It was good enough to get a theatrical release, in my opinion. And that is kind of an unpopular opinion because, I've found out very quickly with this, most fans fucking hate this movie. They place it like at the lower part of the ranking, along with the likes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation and Texas Chainsaw 3D. And Leatherface from 2017 seems to be down there too. So that is like the bottom four. So the fans of the franchise that actually hate most of the films in the franchise, they've not had a good 20 years or so, I don't think. Because to them, the last decent one was released in 2006. I totally disagree. I actually love all 9 of the Texas Chainsaw films, even the lesser ones, which would be 4 and 7. But yeah, that's another thing I've noticed with a lot of horror fan bases is that most fans of Texas don't like half of the movies. Most fans of Halloween only really like slash love maybe 5 of the 13 films. And in the case of both franchises, it's the first handful that were released. Um, with Halloween, it's mostly 1, 2, 3, and 4, and H2O. Like, those tend to be the 5 that people respect the most. And with Texas, it's 1, 2, 3, and the remake. And sometimes you see the beginning get a bit of love. Personally, I don't think that the beginning gets enough love. That one is my second favorite of the 9 Texas Chainsaw films. But, of course, the original is the number one. And I don't say that just to be like a cliche, safe opinioned fan of the series. No, I legitimately think the original 1974 film is the best. It is also the most entertaining. It's the most effective. It's the best. It deserves to be in the top spot. Whereas a lot of other franchises, Hellraiser, Hatchet, Friday the 13th, Halloween, no. The there are sequels or even remakes I prefer over the original, but with Texas, it's the original. So, without rambling further before the film even starts, and this is only my third time seeing it, so my analysis of this one is probably not going to be that deep. I am going to start this, so if you are going to watch along, set your copy to 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, and start now. Oh, that was a long intro, my bad. The music in this is fantastic. This is definitely the best score of any of them. And I don't I don't really have any second thoughts of having that opinion. No, this has the best score. This being blue was a very interesting choice. I like the photos that they used and the really aged look of the bits from the original film. They did a really good job with the locations, recreating all of that. Like, this looks like it could have been the same exact locations at around the same time. And there was our first look at Sally. See, that's almost too meta. And the fact that the mask that was shown in that little recreation snippet thing is basically the same mask that we see him wearing later that has not at this point even been made because the person whose face it is not dead yet. That I don't like. Like, that's kind of I love that this, just by having like some of the product placement, I love that it firmly plants it in the present. This is clearly at the very earliest 2007, 2008 because of that little thing that says energy drinks. Because 2007 is when I noticed everybody started drinking those. And it's not, I've seen some people criticize this for like the whole like touristy gimmick or whatever, but there's plenty of places where bad things have happened decades prior that have capitalized on it, especially smaller areas. I mean, hell, you can go to the Lizzie Borden house. You can, there's a lot of places have done things like this, and I wonder if maybe this is where the original gas station used to be? But probably not. I don't think so. Maybe not. Oh yeah, this looks way too different. This is definitely not it. I've seen people also criticize this for having, you know, kind of putting a quote woke spin on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but as I said in my 1974 commentary, the 1974 film did that first. It is very much a film that, if it were released in its exact form today, people would complain about it for being too woke. Simple as that. That is barely an opinion. I like that this doesn't make Texas and surrounding states look ugly, because they're not ugly. Yeah, this is firmly, firmly planted in the 2020s, and I really, really like the two sisters, even though most people don't. The younger sister's my favorite. The gentrification chainsaw massacre. This is. And I like that this kind of touches on that uncomfortable topic. Like, a lot of people don't think, or don't like to think, and don't like to talk about the fact that a lot of the people who come into, what they see as starving or dead areas to spruce it up and give a youthful modern edge to it, a lot of them are progressive and left-leaning people who may have good intentions, but they're ultimately also profiting off of that, and they are still doing the whole capitalist thing that they complain about. While also inconveniencing and further disenfranchising people that are already in that area sometimes. And that's kind of what these people are doing. Though, like, I don't consider these four, or even the busload of other influencers or whatever, I don't see them as bad people. Like, they're not terrible, awful ogres that deserve to die. No, they're just not as aware as they think they are. Yeah, this is sunny and gorgeous, and it it does not make Texas look scary, which I like. I have my thoughts when it comes to some of the politics of Texas and some things that have happened there, but it is a beautiful state. I've spent quite a bit of time in Texas, and I really liked it. Mostly. This town is such a good location, too. And it it does take a little bit of getting used to the fact that there is not really a family house in this as we know it and as we're used to seeing in these films. But we've had at least, let's see, the original had a family house. The second one had the underground lair. The third one had a house. The fourth one had a house. The remake and the beginning had a house. 3D had that big ass mansion. Leatherface was a bit more of a road movie. And then this one has basically the large ghost town. So it's a nice change of pace. It is weird not having a house, but I don't count it as a strike against this at all. And some people do. And I get it, but at the same time it's like if you need a Texas Chainsaw movie to have a family house, there's 7 others that you can watch that have that. 8. Because Leatherface did have the house, it just wasn't a huge part of it. So yeah, this is the only one without a family house being spotlighted. What was funny about the characters, and it sort of confused me because I was still a little bit behind when it came to the casting when this first came out, and I watched it. Of course, I watched it the first week that it'd been released. Um, Jessica Elaine, who plays Catherine, who was introduced shortly, she was listed for the longest time. Her character's name was just Dante's girlfriend. And it was strange because then I was watching the movie and there's Dante and Ruth right there, the blonde, and that's clearly his girlfriend. And it's like, wait, I thought his girlfriend was Jessica Lange, but I'm assuming they corrected that mistake because even on IMDb it said that. And this would be a fantastic map in the game. The abandoned mill already has some flickers of this. There's a ghost town section. Oh, there's Leatherface. And I totally didn't notice him sitting there right in front the first time I saw this. That is a great way to sneak him in. And he's gone. And those look like bones on that chair. The timeline is a little weird. It's not as weird as the Texas Chainsaw 3D timeline, but it's still a little bit weird. It's like, why the orphanage effectively adopted a 30-year-old man. Alice is so good here, even though I don't really like her character that much. she's she's a bit stuck in her ways and racist, and no, but her performance here is aces. See, this is kind of sad. Like, I don't like her, but like this situation is sad. Because I mean, that boy, and her word choice, it's like she would have been seen as, progressive, maybe in the fucking 1960s, but it is not the 1960s anymore. It is, at this point, 2022. Arg. But if she wants to be on her own, she should be allowed to be on her own. I wonder if the police or anybody else knows who Leatherface is. Like, who that man upstairs really is. This goes by so quickly, too. Wow, it's already a fifth of the way over. Like, there's only just over an hour left. Like, they waste no time on anything, really, at all. But, I mean, with such a short runtime, you can't really afford to. But since it's Netflix, you know, I'm a little surprised that it's not longer. I don't believe that that man is in his 70s. Possibly approaching 80. I don't believe that. I do buy that he is older, but not that much older. I wonder just how many people arrived on that bus. We don't really get to know any of them except for Catherine. Mm. Melody is a little frustrating and irritating. I like how they made sure to have as many of these 20-somethings and 30-somethings be on their phones in the background. Even though they are exploring a new area, most of their attention's still on their phones and on each other and on themselves. That was a sweet little moment. She didn't even make it 18 minutes in. It's kind of a rough way of putting it. Bad idea. Oh god, I love that shot of his eye. Oh. Incredibly well done kill, that one. Oh. Let's see, 4, fuck, I couldn't count. 8, 12, 15, at least 20. Like, I'll say 20. 20 plus Catherine, plus the main 4, plus this guy. I like the interactions between these two. Yeah, this is my favorite scene of the movie, actually. At least when it comes to like non-kill, non-action scenes, it's the best dialogue scene of the movie. And it's nice having a character put that sort of thing into words. Like she technically ends up being the final girl of the movie, but she's already in a way going through the motions of what a final girl goes through in the sequel. The old lady just died. She did the panicky autism hands that I do all the time. I actually really like how this tackled the subject of mass shootings, specifically school shootings. And it's, some people were kind of offended by it, but like it, it, it landed right. It landed the right way for me. I love how she assumes that they had sex. The messaging involving guns is kind of interesting. It's not entirely consistent, but I'd say that it's sort of realistic, and it plays with the spectrum of guns, like how people view guns and whether or not people should have them. Like on one hand, she's a survivor of a school shooting. That is like one of the worst things that one can do with guns. But then on the other, she herself ends up using a gun to defend herself later on. A gun saves her ass in a way. So I like to think that this sort of has a rather neutral view of guns, kind of leaning toward the side of gun control but don't get rid of them. Yeah, see, he shouldn't have been wearing that mask and that little recreation thing on the TV at the very beginning. Because he would not have had that. Because he is just now making it. And what a terrific mask it ends up being. It looks foul. It's one of my favorite masks of the series. I was also both surprised and impressed by how bloody and just nasty this one gets. Um, More people die in this one than in any three previous films combined. The body count is 6 times that of the 1974 film, while this is 30 seconds shorter than the 1974 film. And the bus massacre is just perfect. I feel like he would have seen that. He would have seen her moving. I don't think I've seen anyone beaten to death with an oxygen tank in a movie before, so kudos for that. And the wrist snap and wrist throat like bone stab, like that was great. Another pretty creative kill. This also gets wildly creative with how people die by chainsaw once we eventually get to the chainsaw kills. Because it is a little while before we get to one, but not really any longer than any of the other movies. In the original, one person dies by a chainsaw in 52 minutes in. So I'm always okay waiting until like halfway through the second act for an actual chainsaw kill in one of these. This field is a great location too. Like, my main gripe here is that I wish that she had gotten a full chase scene through the flowers. Oh, that bump on her head. The effects in this are really good. Oh, and she knows. She knows. Ah. Oh, what is he even stabbing her with? She didn't make it very long either. 28 minutes. I love that shot, but at the same time, it looks really. It looks weird. It looks fake. Like, the flowers, like, this is a great location, but how. Were those flowers CG? Like, they have, like, an offness to them. They almost look fake. Hey, selfies. That guy's really hot. And again, like the original, it's nice that everybody is sweating as they would be in 80, 90, whatever degree weather in Texas. I can't stand when movies, and even some movies within this franchise have done this. I can't stand when movies have taken place in hot areas, beating sun, like Texas, Florida, Louisiana, whatever, and it's hot and humid, but everybody looks glamorous and sweat free. No. Like that sort of thing kind of takes me out of it a bit. I like that nothing ends up happening to that guy. And she does a great job in the role. I love I love this version of Sally. It's not entirely unrealistic. Her performance is good. It just it feels a little it feels a lot like Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018, and I can tell that that was what inspired this more than anything. Um but like that's not even my main issue. My main issue is that it's kind of anticlimactic. She's introduced just past the 30-minute mark, and it's set up as like a big revenge quest sort of thing, but the actual confrontation does it deserves some credit, but it ends too quickly, and it doesn't really go anywhere, and Sally is quite literally thrown in the trash at the end of their confrontation. That it doesn't totally sit right with me. um I feel like they shouldn't have spent, you know, they shouldn't have built up her return and then given us a half hour or so and then killed her off. That felt a little bit unfair to the character. And it's a character that people have known and liked for, at the point that I'm recording this, 51 years. But I don't hate it. I don't hate how she's handled. It was just a little bit misguided, I thought. Though I do appreciate that the confrontation manages to tell the audience in under a minute what the Halloween trilogy spent multiple movies telling us. And that is that your trauma may haunt you, and you may devote your life to it, and you may be, you know, miserable because of it, but your trauma doesn't give a shit about you. It might not even, it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't care. And, you know, much like Halloween 2018 and Michael Myers being a representation of Laurie's trauma, Leatherface is that same thing for Sally, and she's all like, say something and look at me and remember me and, you know, remember Kirk and Pam and Franklin and Jerry, and Leatherface just is like, whatever. I'm just, like, she's not important to him. Your trauma may be important to you, but you're not important to your trauma. And there it is. She really did have the title. But she was just being stubborn and not wanting to show it to them because she was upset and didn't want to lose her home. And as much as I kind of detest her for the old-fashionedness and the obvious racism, I can't fault her for not wanting to be removed from the home that at this point she'd had for decades. Pretty much her whole life, probably. She may very well have never lived anywhere but this house. So yeah, I don't blame her for reacting that kind of way. Always gotta get a nice kitchen scene in one of these. That shot's great too. Mm. That surprised me the first time I saw this. I wasn't expecting him to, you know, get it so early on. I mean, he technically doesn't die for a little while yet, but by now, like, at this point, yeah, he's done. This was good, and something that we don't really get a lot of. We don't get enough scenes of just Leatherface doing something without, having to pay attention to a victim. It also really works because it pushes the Ed Gein-ness a little more. And Ed Gein was one of the primary influences of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so, Ed Gein had worn women's skin to kind of keep his mother alive, in a way. And we get, it's never been more obvious in one of these films than in that moment. Mm. Something that would normally be nice, rain. It's kind of inconvenient here. Mm. This is a bit strange too. Like, why is how did he manage to get that chainsaw there? Presumably without Jenny, the adopted mother. Presumably without her knowing. He had a good nap. Mm. Turning into a party bus sort of thing. Ugh. Foul. Poor Catherine. That's some wicked effects work. So that's 5 down. And at this point in the original, only 1 had died. God, she should have... This is one of my main issues. Like, I wish that she hadn't been so vague. Like, she should have just straight up told everybody what was going on. There it is. Would a chainsaw still work after 50 years, though? Like, I don't think that should be nitpicked too much, but it matters slightly. And this stretch of the film, from like the 28-minute mark until right about now, it's the only stretch that feels slow. Like, it has slowed down a bit for the past, like, 15 minutes. But not in a bad way. Oh, god damn that broken leg. Yeah, there's no fight left. Realistically, he would not be... He would probably still... He'd not be putting up the fight that he's putting up right now. Oh. That's a great reaction. And with fatal wounds like that, a lot of people have had that sort of reaction. They're like, huh? God, he gets it with multiple weapons in different ways. Oh. That's probably the gnarliest hammering in the entire franchise. So that's 6 down. And finally, there's Sally again. I wonder how much screen time she has. Like, it can't be much at all. She's clearly not the main character in this film. Like, I want to say she has, like, maybe 6 minutes of total screen time from the time she's introduced. Aww. Poor Ruth. Robbed of a chase scene. And I don't really mind this scene, but the way it's built up is weird. It feels like a scene leading up to someone being attacked, but we know that Leatherface is not going to pop out of the flowers or whatever and come get her because he's all the way back in town. And that right there was one of the main promo shots of this movie. Her holding the picture. They didn't even bother moving him. That's not right. I like how it's taken her, like 4 full minutes to grab those keys. I mean, I guess you could consider this the family house. Serves the same purpose. Oh, that had to have hurt. Oh, and finally, 49 minutes in, we get the chainsaw started, which I think that might be the longest one of these films has gone without the chainsaw really coming into play in some way, at least. And I can tell that the makers of the game kind of used some of the elements from this. Because this has the same sort of vibe as the basement stuff on each of the maps within the game. Ooh, that's such a cool shot. It's like the shark fin. It's like the fin in Jaws. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, god damn. That was so not necessary. God, poor Melody. Just covered in shit. Ugh. Like, old lady shit and Leatherface's shit at that. He's cute. And like some of the other films in the series, the last couple of core characters left standing are women. Like there's no, one man, one woman, the last two standing in several of these movies. Aww. So much for just driving out. Big mistake. That was fast. 7 down, poor Twink. I love that she just backs into the room, just like, what am I looking at? See, a lot of people hate that, but like they hate it for the wrong reasons, and they hate it in a really stupid way. They think that the shots of everybody holding up their phones and live streaming it and recording it, and people commenting like, "Oh, this is fake," blah blah blah. They they misinterpret that, I think. It's not making fun of Leatherface. It's not. I've seen people call it a woke moment, which is just so fucking stupid. It's not. If anything, it's making fun of the new generation. It's making fun of us. Oh. Oh. Some unbelievably nasty kills here. More people die by chainsaw in this than in all the other films combined. I'm pretty sure. It is the only time that we've gotten double digits when it comes to chainsaw kills. Twice in her life that she's been in that situation, and she's probably only like, what, 18? Oh. At this point, this scene's almost overwhelming. Like, it goes on a while. First time we've got a double chainsaw, like a chainsaw double impalement. Oh, poor Catherine. Oh. That was great. The last little strip of intestine just whoop, out of the bus. The door being cut through like bit by bit. It's a nice callback to the original. So yeah, the body count now has jumped from 7 to like 28. And finally that little corkscrew thing came in handy. Like, where would you even go? Like, what can you even do? Like, And now we're getting into the part where it's meant to be the Sally Leatherface confrontation section. I like how she's kind of crazy. She's a little bit off. Like, she doesn't actually care about getting them to safety. No, she wants to get him. I love that. What the fuck? This film was apparently viewed for something like 29 or 30 million hours on Netflix in its first week of release. And since it's round it to an hour and a half, that's like over 10 million people. I'd say like 10 million people watched this the first week, which is incredible for a horror release. And it stayed in the top 10 for a little while. So if all those people had gone on to see this in theaters, had it gotten a theatrical release, this would be like over 100 million. Just does not care. Might not even remember them. And that's more insulting than him just outright killing her right there. Just she's giving it her all, trying to have this big closure for what she's spent her whole life on, and instead he just turns his back, walks away. Ah. Ah. I love the cackle. A lot of people have bitched about the cackle. I fucking love the cackle. She's got a great sense of style, too. See, why couldn't she have just given them the keys and let them go before, like, while she went in the house? That I don't get. I don't get her logic. Oh. This is a really good fight, though. Short as it is, this is a good fight. Oh. She got the Dean kill. Yeah, see, thrown in the trash. Oh, that's my favorite shot of Leatherface. Just that pullback. Oof. Has some good car crashes, this one. My favorite car stunt in the series is still probably the one car going flying in the third film. Another of my favorite moments in this, he's gonna kill me now. Like, that bit of acceptance is, I don't know, it's just really good. Like, she knows that she's fucked. Ah, click. Oh, really good chases in this, too. See, I like that this did not pull a Halloween Kills. Because in Halloween Kills, Michael Myers is basically, bordering on supernatural, and that movie still robbed so many returning characters of getting a shot in. And that was my that's my big complaint with like legacy sequels, is a lot of the time they don't let their returning characters get any kind of payoff. Like Vanessa and Marion, they could have let them get like one clean shot in on Michael each, but no. They either miss or it doesn't go off or they're out of bullets. But here, no, Sally gets that shot. So that's nice. Great music here. Like I said at the beginning, this has the best score of the series. I'm looking at some of the reviews while watching this, and one of my favorites is Brad Wheeler of the Globe and Mail. He said, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is what it says it is. You have your Texas, your chainsaw, your massacre. Which, yes, at this point, we are 9 films deep. If you're really needing anything more than that, you're watching the wrong franchise. As long as those 3 things in the title are there, it works. I would never want a Texas film without Leatherface, though. And I'm glad that this hasn't fallen into the franchise trap of an entry of a series with an iconic villain that randomly does not have that iconic villain. And with the messaging of the film, some have said that it's really conservative, but I don't think I wouldn't call it conservative. I would call it possibly centrist. Possibly centrist. That tackle was good. I do wish the messaging had been a little less subtle, though. Because it does feel a little on the nose at times, and it's very, very loud about it, whereas the original, you can almost miss most of what the original is saying. Ow. That look on her face is just, ah, shit. Not the most necessary slow-mo, but I don't mind it. Another great shot. Leatherface in this is just awesome. Oh. And her slowly wielding the chainsaw. That is the best shot of anyone other than Leatherface holding a chainsaw in the whole series. I will die on that hill. Almost looks like a skull there. Yeah, there's so many shots in this. I would love to, see like digital fan art or hand painted fan art of, but because it's really really visually striking. It sucks that most people hate this movie because that means that we're probably not going to get that much fan art because, you know, a lot of people who do that sort of thing probably wouldn't want to do it for this movie, but I feel like it deserves it. And it is kind of crazy that, this is short, but it's short. Leatherface was defeated 1 hour and 12 minutes into this. That's insane. I think that is the earliest defeat of any of the slasher icons, like the big ones. I'm surprised it took them that long to drive out of there. How long were they sitting in the theater? That's a nice car, but the self-driving is. I don't, I don't drive. I'm not good with cars. Jesus Christ. Oh, that is such a brutal ending. Like that still gets me like, whoa. I wish the dance had gone on longer. I really wish the dance had gone on longer. But yeah, that movie is so fucking short. It's so fucking short. It is 1 hour. We just hit 1 hour 14 minutes. So I was generous earlier when I said, oh, not including credits, it's probably an hour and 17. No, not including credits. This thing is like an hour 11, hour 12. It's unreal. But I love that ending. I really love that ending. I don't know how anybody can really complain about that ending. It's that's the meanest note that any of these have ended on. Like we've not had that. Well, no, with the beginning. I take that back. We had that a bit with the beginning. Also had that a little bit with the 2017 Leatherface, but it didn't feel quite as blunt. And both of those films were prequels, so it was almost you almost go into them expecting slash knowing that yeah, the final girl of this movie is going to die, because if she survived, we wouldn't have gotten the film that this is a prequel to. But with this, it's like, okay, she might, both the sisters lived. Like, they're fine. They're gonna get out of this. It's, the end. We have two final girls. They're both gonna survive. Nope. At least one of them's dead, and if they don't make a sequel to this, which brings back the younger of the two sisters, I'm going to assume that both of them are dead. Because like how would she have gotten out? How would she have gotten out of that? Like yeah, she's in the self-driving car, whatever, but like he's gonna catch her. She's gonna die. Or maybe not. And if she doesn't, we'll see how she survives in a sequel. But I don't know. I'm worried that we won't get one, and I really want a sequel. And I would be happy to see it pick up exactly where this one left off somehow. Or even just like a few months later or whatever. The little sister somehow escaped. They can explain that away like sequels tend to do. And, continue on with her. Because I really like her. She's actually one of my favorite final girls of the series. Lila. So it just, I don't know. It just depends on, if she's willing to come back, if they've deemed the film successful enough, a whole bunch of things. I want more. I want more. I want Netflix to give us more. I want them to give us one of these every, 3 years for the next 9 years. I don't care. Give us, at least two more. Um, but, yeah, this, it works for me. It is my fifth. I think I would rank it number 5. I think my ranking is very, very controversial, I feel. It's 1974, and then The Beginning, and then Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and then probably the remake, and then this one, and then Leatherface 2017, and then Texas Chainsaw 3D, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Next Generation, and then last and least, but I still love the hell out of it, 2. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is probably my least favorite, and I know that some people are going to rage quit this commentary right now if they haven't already, because of that, because that is such an unpopular opinion. because most fans, they rank Texas Chainsaw 2 as either the number one or the number two. I never see anybody else ranking it dead last, but I have to. I have to. I have reasons for it, and I will eventually get to those reasons if I work up the courage to record a commentary for the second film. Because the commentary for the second film is probably going to piss some people off because I can see myself accidentally shredding it a bit even though I love it. There's a lot I complain about even though I love it. But this one I love more. I'm not sorry. Um and with the messaging and the gun violence and like all that stuff, like it there's like some little flickers of it, not going to get personal here, that kind of resonate with me in a unique way. And it's the way certain things landed. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you've experienced something like that, you might get it. If you haven't, good. um, and the producer, Fede Alvarez, I'm reading here, he didn't want to be anything but a bit vague when it came to the gun violence aspect in particular. And it's not supposed to be super clear, which I'm kind of happy about, because I was worried, like, okay, are they trying to be clearly pro-gun, or are they trying to be clearly anti-gun? What is going on here? What stance are they taking? Because both stances are correct, I feel. And so it's nice that he kind of cleared that up. Like, it's like, no, we're not making a firm stance. And his exact quote is, there's this theme, there's two sides of it, these people are wrong, these people are wrong. That's not how the world works for us. The world is a fucking mess, and there's shades of gray, and there can be all sorts of characters in both sides of the story, so that's the way we approached it. We wanted you to walk out of it and go, wait, but I still don't have an answer. Who was right and wrong? Because that is the way life works. I know that some movies do give you an answer and they take a strong point of view, but for us, in something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's the most gruesome horror movie. You gotta be chaotic, it cannot be preachy. It's not school time. I agree with that. I'm totally cool with that stance. Um, I I know I talk a lot defending politics and social commentary in horror films. These things, in some ways, made the horror genre. Um, but a film can be. It can have sprinklings of social and political commentary without taking its own specific stance. And I think a lot of films miss that. A lot of films, when being written, like the writers are, they probably feel like, okay, in order to address this, we need to give our opinion in a way. We need there to be some kind of, there needs to be a clear stance that, like, the good characters or the bad characters are coming from. And it works. It works a lot of the time. Um, but at the same time, not every movie needs that. You can comment on something and, like, mention something and include something without having, like, a hard point of view on something. Um, pro-gun people may view this movie as validating. Anti-gun people, same thing. Or they may see it as the opposite. Like, people who are anti-gun may feel kind of insulted by the fact that, like, oh, they ultimately use guns to defend themselves. They turn to the gun anyway. Pro-gun people may also be offended equally and be like, oh, well, they hammered home a messaging of guns are bad by including, a school shooting. None of that is true. But yeah, it works, and I love that ending. The post-credits bit of him walking to the old house, the old family house. I love that. I love that. That's a perfect setup for a sequel. Like, he's home. after 50 years. I don't know why it would have taken him 50 years to get back home. I'm assuming it wasn't that far away, but whatever. It's a movie. And it is the ninth movie in a slasher franchise that's been going on now for 51 years and initially began 52 years ago. So whatever, is way better than the vast majorities of part 9s that have ever existed, in my opinion. Even though it's still only the fifth best of its own franchise. But yeah, the next one I think I'll do something with is probably going to be the third one. Just because I haven't watched Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 in, like, going on 2 years now. And I've been kind of itching to revisit that one just because it is my number 3 of the 9. And I love that movie so much. And I'm hopefully going to be meeting Ken Foray in the next month. And I'm really stoked about that, if it happens. It's still a maybe. But yeah, thank you for listening to me ramble for 89 minutes about a 72-minute long movie, not counting the credits. Until next time.